What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. So I'm doing a client email right now with Mirko. What's up, Mirko? And he made a good point. I said, you know what? We're going to stop right here in the middle of this email, which I'm actually in the middle of typing it right now, to discuss this because it's so important that, you know, when I first came on the scene of YouTube, I was preaching about how the fucking caloric deficit doesn't matter and you can still lose fat even if you're in a caloric surplus, which people are like, fucking crazy, Jerry. And then I was like, if you're in a caloric deficit, you could still gain muscle. And they're like, fucking crazy, Jerry. And I was like, watch what I do, motherfuckers. Watch how fast I get big. Watch how fast I get lean. Watch how fast I gain muscle. Watch how fast I drop muscle. Watch how fast, motherfuckers. And then everybody's like, well, how do you do that? And I'm like, it's the hormonal manipulation from the food. It's not so much the calories. And people go, well, doesn't it really boil down to? No, it doesn't really boil down to calories. It starts with calories and boils down to the hormonal manipulation of the food. Now, what's happening to Mirko and most of my clients, 99% of them that follow what the fuck I tell them to do, they'll gain muscle and lose fat. Now, some people will say that's completely impossible, but Mirko made a good point where he said, you know, he's getting stronger and his muscles are getting bigger, but technically he doesn't really know if he's in a caloric deficit. And I was like, okay, here's the deal. What builds muscle? Okay, carbohydrates have nothing to do with muscle. They are an energy source. Fats, a stored, dense energy source. They do not build muscle. They literally have no role in muscle building. What they do is they spare amino acids from being used for energy. Okay, so now here's the deal. If you're in a caloric deficit, so caloric deficit, you're in a caloric deficit, right? But you have X amount of aminos. Let's say your body, you're training, and you've broken down the muscle tissue and your body's recovering, and you need, let's just throw fucking numbers out there so you understand, 1,000 milligrams of amino acids, right? That's to maintain your muscle mass. But you cut your carbohydrates down so that you're in like a 300 calorie deficit. Now you took your 1,000 milligrams of amino acids in, and you took 1,050 micrograms of amino acids. That 50 milligrams is all you would technically need to build muscle. The body would recover and the muscle would actually be built from the amino acids building new tissue. But you're still in a caloric deficit. The body does build muscle based on the fact that it has to adapt. Okay? If you're in too much of a caloric deficit, now this is where I think the confusion comes in. These motherfuckers drop 1,500 calories at a fucking clip. I've seen people go from 5,000 calories and start their diet on fucking Monday and go to fucking 1,800 calories. I mean, anytime you cut any shit like that, yes, you're going to have some fucking muscle loss. You're going to have a sense of shock that the body goes into, which I'm not really sure what it is or what it's called. I'm sure there's some kind of medical term for it, but it's essentially a metabolism slowing at the same time, increasing in fucking cravings. Your body goes fucking haywire if you do something like that. However, if your body is adapted and you're steadily losing fat, okay, which technically, let's just for shit's sake say it's a caloric deficit, and you're in a 300 to 400 calorie caloric deficit, and you add 50 milligrams of amino acids, or just one, let's say 5 grams of protein. 5 fucking grams of protein. And you're maintaining your muscle mass. Your muscle mass is staying where it is. In the gym, you're maintaining your strength. You add 5, 10 grams of protein, you're still in a caloric deficit. But guess what? Your body now has the amino acids that it needs to build muscle. However, if you're losing muscle, okay, here's where, now this gets confusing. If you're losing muscle in your caloric deficit, you're getting weaker in the gym, you add that 5 to 10 grams of protein, you're not going to gain muscle. Why? Because your body's technically looking for another source of fuel. So it's going to use that new protein and then continue to use muscle. So it depends on the situation that you're in. But to put a blanket statement out there that like you cannot gain mass in a caloric deficit is fucking stupid, because I've seen it over and over and over again over the last 25 fucking years. And now I think by 3 years, how long have we been doing this YouTube thing? 3 years? By now 3 years, I think people are starting to fucking wake the fuck up and look at me and go, maybe he's on to something. All these other fucking guys, not much is changing with them. They're falling off, they're dropping off like flies, but him and his clients are consistent for the last 3 years, and it's gaining momentum and working more and more, and it's not a drug thing. 95% of my clients are clean. They're 100% natural. So it's not about, well, it's only if you take drugs, it's only if you take insulin. That's bullshit. Does that change some factors? Yes. Will you gain more muscle? Yes. But you can still gain muscle and lose fat at the same fucking time in a caloric deficit. Yes, it's absolutely fucking possible, but I don't even fucking know if I am in a caloric deficit or not. don't fucking count it one bit. I can go by how my body's reacting, which is very instinctual, which is not easy to do for somebody who's starting out. But the bottom line is, if you're in a caloric deficit and you add protein slowly to your diet while you're still in a deficit, while you're maintaining muscle mass and maintaining strength, you're going to gain muscle. Biomastertraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biomastertraining.com is a blog. It's the more explanation of caloric deficit bicep, and we're out.